Yeah, that's a really good question. So by sea, by air, and by land, Iran is very much surrounded by United States forces. Their next strategic move needs to be very precise and negotiable. These B-2 bombers that are in air, in flight, can at any given time take the target at the president's decision making. So Iran needs to be very, very mindful and very, very careful of how they position their military towards us. Given those Marines, specifically Marines ready to roll, all you need is a couple hundred Marines to overthrow a country, and they have 7,500. So I'd be very, very careful if I'm the Ayatollah at this point.
Right. So B-2 bombers heading to the Pacific. That's what we're reporting here today.
Yep.
Does that tell you that President Donald Trump is doing this peace through strength, and he's just showing a sign of force to Iran, saying we're here, we can do this, make your decision? Or is this like we're about to strike and we should be on the ready here in the News Nation newsroom?
Yeah, I believe that this is going to be a point of assertion and also a deterrence for Iran, trying to signal them saying that we're at the point where we're going to make a decision. And if my personal opinion of what I've seen in combat warfare, that we're more likely going to strike within the next couple of weeks. That's what I believe. That's what I see, defensive posturing and whatnot. If there's a peace negotiation or if there's any type of negotiation, I would be surprised if the Ayatollah even shows up himself. Unfortunately, Iran is going to see the full force of the United States military.
Look, people are on pins and needles here in this country. We don't. A lot of folks are. Look, we've got this new poll actually about Americans on U.S. involvement in the Israel-Iran war. 60% disapprove. This is according to The Economist in a YouGov poll here. What would this war mean for the United States and our troops if Donald Trump decides, yes, we're hopping in on Israel's behalf in an offensive position?
Yeah, at that point, you're talking about a regional war, a war all Iraq and Afghanistan all over again. I don't know if it'll be a 20-year war, but this is more so a joint nation war at this point. Afghanistan was more a terrorist organization, Hezbollah, and then also same with ISIS and whatnot in Iraq. This is a government-to-government straight-up fight. So I believe this is going to engage more of the regional players. I wouldn't be surprised if we see other countries join in the fight. And what this means to the United States is, we're in it for the long haul.
All right. And look, with the airspace being closed over Israel, it's very difficult to get in or get out. We've had issues even getting our Robert Sherman there, and he's reporting that Ambassador Mike Huckabee is saying, first, you need to fill out this form so we know that you're there. And then when we offer you a way out, please don't be choosers about this. Take the opportunity when you get it. What more do you know about the efforts to get Americans out of the Middle East right now?
Yeah, airspace is closed right now. There are private crop duster, farm equipment that's being used to exfil people out, and then on top of that, transportation going through Jordan and whatnot. And so the collaboration with Jordan and also other Middle Eastern countries is going to be hand in hand. A lot of people are fleeing through Egypt as well. And then also I've seen have friends there right now who just basically stole the bus and got out of Dodge real quick. So.
Yeah. Well, look, President Trump has said he wants Iran to surrender completely, an indefinite surrender. We're seeing protests erupt in Tehran against Israel's actions right now, though. Do you think this is all going to have an impact on pressuring Iran to end this conflict and to fold, essentially, to Trump and Netanyahu even more?
Yeah, I think the Ayatollah needs to come forth and surrender his political opposition on his own people, and let the people be in power for themselves and rise their own government versus being a dictator and some sort of communistic perspective. If you ask me, I think Netanyahu and the U.S. president has already made a decision, and they're just kind of waiting the time out to hit.
And when you hear that Iran has these strikes that have fewer missiles and rockets in them, is that a sign to you that, like they say, they're just holding back? Or is that because their supply is getting diminished and they don't have too much left?
So it's one of two things here. Either Iran has exhausted all of their ammunition. I mean, if you really think about it, 400 missiles in one day, 200, 100. So that tells me either they're depleting their munitions, or they've kind of went to a different strategy and said, hey, we're going to go hold on our ammunitions, and because we know the United States or another third party is coming in. Unfortunately, if you ask me, I think they're depleting all their munitions right now.
Look, so often in the Middle East, we see this tit for tat, and sometimes it's performative. This clearly is not. This is the real deal. Thank you so much for your time today. U.S. Army and combat veteran, national security expert, Ricoh Danielson. Thank you. Come back again.